if it's high volume, high transaction dollar amounts, or not dollar amounts, volume, then they're more apt to have that either in-house or have it, outsourced as well.
Is there an advantage with using somebody like you to do that in terms of the types of information that you're getting from the accounting or the bookkeeping system? When you're growing a small business, a lot of times, if, like you said, if there's high volume, I would imagine it's kind of tough to get reporting sometimes out of your accounting system.
Yes. What we can add is the information that we give back to the client, the prospective client, is more high-level information than typically what they're able to glean themselves, unless they're financially savvy, for example. And we also do the tax planning part of it as well. Because let's be honest, the business owner, not sole purpose, but one of the goals is to minimize the amount of taxes they pay. We all know that the small business owner is the one that, in America today, is the one that's getting taxed the greatest on a per capita basis, I should say, or percentage basis. With the payroll taxes and the income taxes as well, they're heavily hit, and we know that, and they know that. And so one of the things we add to the table bring to the table that most other individuals we hire in-house won't, is we bring that tax expertise to it. And a lot of our projects that we do for our clients are not just bookkeeping, but they also expand into the tax planning arena as well. And they clearly cannot get that either through themselves or through a bookkeeper that they hire, part-time or full-time.
Right, that makes sense. Would another advantage be that when you have somebody like you handling the accounting and the bookkeeping, access to that information in terms of timely reports? I know sometimes business owners, the day-to-day operations involves everybody, and sometimes driving the right kind of reporting out of the accounting system takes a back seat. I would imagine that you put people on a schedule or have some type of ongoing reporting that they can get access to whenever they need it.
Yes. Normally what we do, it depends on the size of the business, what they're looking for, and what kind of activity they have. But typically we'll find a frequency of either monthly or quarterly that will prepare the bookkeeping work for them. In some cases, we actually are the only bookkeeper they may have, and then we actually pay bills for our clients, and we actually reconcile bank accounts for our clients, basically becoming their part-time bookkeeper. And it costs us much less than what they can hire a full-time bookkeeper for. So that's one level. That's the highest level that we have, the most active. And then we have some where we do basically an accumulation or a second look at their books every month or every quarter, by basically taking their books that they have and put it in from another database that we monitor and we maintain, and then coordinate with them on the day-to-day transactions. That usually happens on a monthly basis as well. So there's several different levels of service that we have, and depending on the need of the particular client. And our service range right now runs from all the way doing basically everything, including payroll, bookkeeping, writing checks, and things like that for the client, all the way up into where we do a summary each month and sometimes quarterly for our clients. So we see the full gamut. It's the full range that we see.
Right. Kevin, when you take on a new client, has there ever been any cases, I don't know if you'd want to call them horror stories or success stories, where you find as you go through their work that they've been doing things wrong? Do you have any examples of that, or can you think of any off the top of your head?
Well, we have situations where not necessarily they were wrong overall. I mean, everything was wrong. We always look at previous year's information and previous year's activity to see if there's any corrections that we can make to benefit the client more. We certainly want to look at that, for every new client that we have. But we have run into circumstances where they were not very timely at all. And then accompanied by a few mistakes here and there. Nothing really, really huge, but enough to make the client say, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe I do need to look at a better way to do this. And so we talked to them about, do you want to hire a part-time bookkeeper or do you want to outsource that? And they ended up outsourcing that. Basically, we doing everything on a monthly basis, bank rec, payroll, everything And that came from the fact that the previous accountant was not very timely and apparently accurate, but they didn't know that at the time.
Right, that makes sense. Can you give a range, I guess, from an owner's standpoint, what sometimes hiring a bookkeeper or an accountant internally versus sometimes outsourcing it to you in terms of a cost savings? Can they save 10% or 20%?
Well, I think they can save a significant amount. The dollar amount, is probably undecided depending on the client. For example, you might be able to hire a part-time bookkeeper here in Louisville for probably $12 to $14 an hour, maybe. Okay, I don't know. I'm just guessing. $12 to $14 an hour on a decent bookkeeper, and so you might have him or her, let's say half time, so that's 20 hours, a week, $280 a week, about $1,000 a month. Is kind of follow the math. And that's just the gross numbers. You don't have payroll taxes as well, and so it probably brings it about $1,300 a month that you end up paying. Now, for our services, let's say we were able to do that, then you're going to save some money. You're going to get things timely. We're probably going to be better, and we're going to add in the tax paying component for just probably a little bit less than that. I would say you save 10 to 20% on that number, and we're going to get a better service on that.
Right. Okay. Super. That would bring us to the third strategy of doing the bookkeeping, where somebody actually hires somebody full-time internally. I don't know if it's called an accountant or a controller, but can you talk about how that works and how you're able to help folks in that situation, or maybe advantages and disadvantages of hiring somebody at that level?
Usually you don't see them until the client's pretty established. The revenue is there to support that, because the cost of hiring the controller in-house typically means you're going to have other staff members that report to them. So you don't often see where you have just one controller level person in the particular client's business. So, it's very expensive. It's, at least $50,000 probably to have a good one, on staff. Now, that's the disadvantage. Maybe the advantage is you probably got a lot of experience. They're probably typically pretty good, and the reporting is going to be better than if you just had a part-time bookkeeper. So there are some of the advantages. The advantage primarily is cost.
Thanks, Kevin, and we are just about out of time on the call today, so I want to thank you very much for all this great information and explaining the three different strategies and ways to handle bookkeeping and accounting. And if you are listening either live on the phone today or on the internet or on the replay, and you have a question for Kevin about these different options of handling your bookkeeping or accounting for your business, the two best ways to contact Kevin are by either calling him at his Louisville office at area code 502-426-0000. That's 426-0000. Or you can send him an email at kevin@roberts-cpa.com. That's kevin@roberts, ROBERTS-cpa.com. This has been the 3 strategies to attack and solve the bookkeeping aspects of running your business, hosted by Kevin Roberts, CPA, president of Roberts CPA Group. And thank you very much, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. See you. Bye.
All right, have a good day. Thanks. Bye.